Welcome to the championship edition of the 2-Minute Drill. I'm Fred Burrobletto behind the camera with Aram Talegian and Steve Ramirez. And we're talking about the Southeast Division Championship. We've got number 1, undefeated Norwalk, 13-0 against number 2, Serna, 11-2. That game will likely be at Cal State Fullerton on Saturday, at 7 p.m. Hasn't been determined yet. You can check during the week for the exact location, but we're hearing that game is probably going to be at Cal State Fullerton. And boys, Aram, you just watched Norwalk on Friday night come back and beat Muir. Your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, well, as we know, earlier in the season, Mike Machete, the head coach at La Mirada, said that Norwalk was the best Suburban League team maybe ever, but certainly of the last 30 years. In the second quarter, I was starting to think, you know what, Machete, he really got one over on me because there's no way that's the best team. That's just impossible. But by the end of the game, I kind of saw what he was talking about. It's nothing really flashy other than, I guess Rashad Penny's big runs are certainly flashy, but what they do, this is not a throwing team, Fred. This is not a spread team. This is a line-up, grinded-out team with a hell of a running back in Rashad Penny. And again, it's nothing flashy. Their defense, they can be had a little bit. That Muir offense was, at least for the first half, the Muir offense was hot. But the defense also plays the same way. They just kind of grind too. They make stops when they need to. They're a very, very good team. They're 13-0 for a reason. It's very surprising to me that this division, because, sitting at the CIF luncheon yesterday, you listen to the seeds and where these teams that are in these championship games this week came from, and rarely do you see number 1 versus number 2 as far as the seeds. No. And that's exactly what you have here. Norwalk is bidding to be, a number 1 seeded champion and go 14-0. Yeah, Serna's the number 2 seed and they're 11-2.
Yeah, it's very hard. I don't care who you are and what division you are. It's very difficult to go 14-0.
Right.
And as the number 1 seed, because everyone is gunning for you. So that and in Serna's case, being the number 2 seed at 11-2, and the schedule they play, they beat Westlake. They played a tough Norco team, which they lost, and they lost to Los Osos, which is another good team from a great league.
Right.
So,
well, I think you said it, Steve. Just those preseason games, going against a Norco, which is power football, I think it's something that they're going to be prepared for when they get in this championship game. I watched them against Diamond Bar just thoroughly dominate Diamond Bar. Their runners couldn't get outside. They were real quick. But I don't know how they're going to handle, Aram, these runs up the middle or just more of a bruising style. Diamond Bar was a little more, wanted to get outside, wanted to use their speed. It sounds like to me Penny is someone who's just going to come straight at you, and you got to stop him. And the scary thing for Serna what you want to do if you're them, Norwalk, is keep Frankie football off the field. And when you have a team that can go on long drives like this, that keeps a great quarterback off the field. And that's a concern if you're Serna.
Right. And I thought when Muir got up 2 scores on them, that was the end of the game, because I didn't think that Norwalk could pass their way back into it, and they didn't even try to. They stuck with their guns, and they just kind of waited Muir out. Their defense came up with stops. The Penny runs to the outside against Muir didn't work. He couldn't get outside on them because Muir's speed just contained him. So they started putting Penny up the middle, and Muir absolutely couldn't stop that. I'm talking 70, 80. There was an 88-yard touchdown run, like a 70-something yard touchdown run, a 60-yard touchdown run, just untouched, gone. And once he gets into the open field, he's gone. He's not coming back. And if Muir can't run him down, there's no way Serna's going to be able to run him down. So it's a really interesting dynamic of, if you're Serna, you need to jump on this team and put them in a hole again, and just hope that, unlike the Muir game, they won't be able to come out of it. And if you don't do that, then like you said, Fred, you risk them grinding on you, and by the 4th quarter, you're not stopping them. Muir wasn't. And obviously you're keeping Frankie Palmer off the field. It's a very, very intriguing game. I assure you, unless Penny goes off in the 1st quarter, you're going to be at that game saying, well, what's so special about Norwalk? But then by the end of the game, they're doing just fine. This is a tough game. We have to really give props to Margarito Beltran and Frankie Palmer and Serna. This is their 3rd straight trip to the championship game. That's really rare air when you do that. I know a lot of people on the blogs are saying they're going to be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on Norwalk to finish the season undefeated. And if you're Serna, I mean, you start thinking about that. It's when it's your third trip and you haven't won one yet. That's even more pressure to me than going your first time, and even more pressure on Frankie Palmer. I mean, think about it. You don't want to be the quarterback that goes to 3 straight championships and goes 0-3.
Yeah,
that starts to become like Monrovia football 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I think now that they're at the championship game, I think for them the pressure is getting here to get that opportunity, because when you lose in the championship game, that kind of something you put on your shoulder, and you want to get back to it to get that opportunity. And now I think they can just kind of let loose.
This appears to be the best of the 3 Lacerna teams, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they've been bridesmaids against team. I mean, West Covina put a hammer on them a couple of years ago. Last year, that team, I think people thought they were going to beat Downey last year.
Yeah, but it was raining.
Downey put the hammer on them.
Well, they didn't put the hammer. It was a close game.
They were within
what was the final score of that game? Wasn't it a couple touchdowns?
Yeah. I mean, they got the ball back, I think, with like 50 seconds left, and no timeouts, and they just couldn't drive down there.
I think this
but it's not getting any easier for them, is my whole point in these championships. It might be their best team, but it doesn't mean it's getting any easier for them.
No. This Norwalk team, they'll be definitely a challenge for them. But I think Lacerna, I don't know what happened last week against Burbank. I saw those scores as they were happening, and I was just stunned that they were all out to beat that team, especially, like you said, Fred, the way they beat Diamond Bar.
Well, what it shows, I think, is the Pacific League was pretty good. Yeah. Burbank giving Lacerna game, you're giving Norwalk, who Machete called the greatest team since the Southeast was created.
Right. But again, I don't know what, maybe the style of play that Burbank plays compared to Diamond Bar gave Lacerna problems. Maybe finesse teams Lacerna can handle. I think
the Hacienda League
but
is
the
that
bigger
bad
teams,
this year.
Well, but the bigger grinded out teams maybe give Lacerna trouble. I don't know. There's nothing complex coming at them on Saturday. Excuse me. That's for sure. You know what Norwalk's going to do. The question is, can you stop it when it happens? And obviously 13 have tried and 13 have failed.
I just absolutely love when you get a heavyweight match and you got boxer versus puncher.
Yeah.
And that's what you have, passing team versus team that likes to run a lot.
And what Burbank runs is the same thing that Norwalk runs.
Okay, well then there you go. So they may have trouble with this style of team.
They haven't had trouble, but at least they've kind of seen it.
Right. But you haven't seen it like this.
No,
right,
I know.
Right.
They have a huge offensive line. I mean, they're an impressive team. I was really impressed by them. So I'm going to pick Lacerna in this game because it is Frankie football, because they have the edge in the quarterback matchup. Norwalk's quarterback, Carr, I believe he's just more so of a game manager. He's very, he's a very good player. He also plays defense, but just because you have the better quarterback here, the guy that can make plays, I'm going to give Lacerna the edge because of Frankie football.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way that I see it. I mean, I was at that championship game last year, and even though Downey was making big plays, he was making big plays in matching them. Mm-hmm. Just the rain kind of slowed them down a little bit, and that was the difference. And this Norwalk team is a tough team, but it's hard to pick against a quarterback like that.
Right. Yeah. Freddie?
Well, from the very beginning, again, I picked Lacerna to win the championship, although when I picked it, I thought it was going to be easy and they were going to run through it, and I was totally wrong about that.
It's never easy, Fred.
But I still think, when you think of a guy, and you had him on the show that night, Aram, after they beat Diamond Bar, Frankie, and he just sounds like a poised, a smart kid, and when you've lost 2 games like that, and you're getting your third and your last opportunity, his last football game, I'm just expecting something really special from him on Friday night. I mean, it's their time. I know they're going against an undefeated team, and I think that's what's going to make it even greater for him to go out beating an undefeated team and one that is this great. But I think Lacerna's built up to this. They've had 2 tough breaks in championships, and I think they finally get it done on Saturday night. And I think it's a great game. I mean, I think we're all going to be there to go watch it, so it's going to be great.
Should be a monster crowd, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. All 3 of us take Lacerna, but I got a feeling this one's going to be very close either way.